What I've learned over the years through, working with GradCom where we do branding for community colleges is the first round people hate. They just hate it. Like I've never had a logo or a brand redesign where the first iteration was like, "We love everything about it. Let's go." Part of the process is learning what people don't like, and they can't vocalize that until they see something they don't like. And then you can be like, "Okay, what don't you like? What don't you want to see?" And that's invaluable. That's just part of the process.
Hey, welcome to the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast, a show where we bring together Marcom leaders from both inside and outside higher ed to give you fresh perspectives on successful organic content creation and strategy in higher education. My name is John Azzoni. I'm the founder at Unveiled, a video production company working specifically with colleges on their storytelling and commercial video content. You can learn more about our work at unveiled.tv. That's UNVEILD. And if creating content that resonates emotionally with your audience is a priority for you, then you need to be subscribed to the Higher Ed Storytellers Digest. It's my weekly newsletter where we cover a lot of ground about content creation and strategy in higher ed. So sign up for that for free at unveiled.tv/newsletter. All right, let's get on with the show. All right, my guest today is Cheryl Broom. Cheryl is a leading expert in higher education marketing communications with nearly 2 decades of higher education experience. Cheryl has worked extensively with community colleges and universities nationwide on various projects, from successful bond passages to complex marketing campaigns. So Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So once in a while, I like to get someone on the show that I've been following on LinkedIn and has posted some bangers that I've saved in my, I text myself. I have a running text thread with myself of posts that I saved from LinkedIn. So you're on there a couple times. So I think that's the threshold, maybe like 2 saves or something, and you get to come on the podcast. So,
Yay.
so you have a series called, well, it's not called anything. You have a series that's like Don't Tell Marketing, which
Right.
we'll talk about. And then you also posted one about RFPs, which we'll talk about, kind of a topic near and dear to any higher ed vendor's heart, I think, especially mine, that I wanted to unpack kind of from the vendor perspective.
Great.
So yeah, also just a disclaimer for listeners, I'm testing out a new camera. I'm in my wife's office, so I don't have my normal microphone and all that stuff. And I'm testing out a new webcam that we can send to people to do virtual interviews with for client work. And it also has like AI audio built into it. So I'm hoping this episode sounds good. If it doesn't, we're going to blame Insta360 and could possibly be human error. So cool. So we always start off with just tell me something that people might be surprised to know about you.
Okay. Well, I am from San Diego. I'm from North County, San Diego, from a beautiful little beach town called Encinitas. And something that people are still surprised about is that I am a surfer, and I've been surfing since I'm 12. I surfed this weekend. Yeah. So I've surfed in one contest in my life and I won it. That was when I was 14.
Nice.
So that was, yeah, a long time ago, 30 plus years ago. And I think it does surprise people, because, surfing now is a sport that both women and men enjoy and are really good at, but not a lot of women over a certain age are out in the water. And I
Yeah,
learned when it was definitely a male sport. So and that's something I love. And I think part of kind of who I am.
that's really cool. It's been a dream
Yeah.
of mine to learn how to surf. You don't really get you if you go to either coast, either side of, or up north in Michigan. If you go to any of the coasts, you could probably surf. There's like sort of waves if you go on the right day, but like not like California situation. But
No.
as a skateboarder, that's been a dream of mine. So I'm envious of
Oh,
you,
yeah.
and I admire that about you.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, one thing that surfing has taught me is perseverance, because everybody sees surfers stand up and you think that's right. That's surfing. That's the payoff. But it's the paddling and getting over the waves and learning the ocean and getting pounded and getting run over. And it's a really hard sport to learn, but it teaches you patience and payoff, right? All that hard work gets you like a 45-second ride. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing holding me back besides geography is that like I have this like if I get worn out like swimming or whatever,
I have this like drowning panic that's
Oh.
stems from one time that was actually like maybe only 5 or 6 years ago that we went up north with my family, and me and my wife and my sister-in-law decided to just swim out as far as we could go. And as I'm coming back, I'm like, I'm just getting gassed. And I'm like, but I keep like trying to touch the bottom. I'm like, shoot, I can't touch the bottom. And I'm like, all right, I'll swim a little further. And I'm like, I still can't touch the bottom. And I'm like, I'm getting so panicked and winded. And I also can't float. Like I just don't have that like ability to float on my back. So anyways,
Well, luckily for you, a surfboard's like a giant flotation device.
that's true.
So
Okay.
I used to do like sprint triathlons and I thought, I surf, I don't need to practice swimming. And thought I was gonna die swimming, like,
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm used to laying on a board and paddling. It's not the same as putting your face in the water for half an hour,
Yeah.
so
Well, that makes me feel better.
good.
I did
I
live.
hope to see you one day. Skateboarders make great surfers.
Yeah, okay, cool. I picked up snowboarding pretty easily in my younger days, but haven't tried surfing. Anyway, cool. Well, tell me how long have you been on LinkedIn like in an intentional way? What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, so I always use LinkedIn. I used to be a marketing director at a community college, and LinkedIn was really just a place to put my own personal updates, like, "Hey, I attended this event," or. And then I started working in the agency world and was working as the president of a marketing agency, and started a California office. And I started at that point, so about 7 years, using LinkedIn more to talk to new clients, to post things that might be relevant to colleges. And then when I started my own company, LinkedIn really became an important platform in our own marketing. So I try to post something useful to people weekly. Uh, you picked up on something that happened in my personal life that I ranted about and ended up going, viral, which is the first time something happened like that to me. I mean, I've seen followers like my posts, but the first Don't Tell Marketing post got like 4,000 likes and shares and just really
Yeah.
resonated with people. So I use it now for networking. I've gotten clients from it, have conversations with people. I learn things every day. I've seen your content, John. It's great. So I love it. I think it's a really important part of our own company's marketing strategy.
Yeah, that's what I look for. Every day, like there's a part of my day where I spend on LinkedIn and every morning. And one of the things that I do is like look for new people to follow. And that's the first thing I do is go down to their posts and see if I can at a glance tell if they have a point of view on anything or if
Right.
it's just kind of
Right.
like, here's this random stranger that I don't know that won an award at our school, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah,
There's a
having a
spark
point of
behind.
view is so important. Yeah, that's what people want to hear is somebody with an opinion. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Don't Tell Marketing series, I thought it was just one of them that went viral, but as I was scrolling back through to like freshen up on your posts, there was a couple of them that took off.
Yeah, they really did. So the first one, I had taken the afternoon off because my son is a senior, but back in April or May when I posted the first one, he was a junior, and at his school, junior parents volunteer for senior night. And like my job, for example, was being the person in charge of getting all the seniors over to the photo booth. So the marketing director at my son's school, she wanted to show us some giveaways that she had made, but she made them using a different color than the school's official colors. And before she unveiled these giveaways, she literally said, "Don't tell marketing." But I use my own color, and I was been a marketing director, and I lived through that, like, every department being like, "We don't like the school colors." We even had our school colors were supposed to be red and black, but over the years, everybody decided they were blue and teal and white. So our sports teams were one color, our marketing collateral was another, the buildings were painted a different color. It was like people just picked whatever they liked.
Yeah.
And that's what she said. She's like, "I just picked the color I liked because I think that the seniors will like this color better." And I thought, this would be I'm gonna share this experience because this is what dilutes a brand, is when everybody goes and picks their own color. So I posted like a rant, and within like 2 minutes, I had like 700 people like it, and people started commenting. So I knew I struck a nerve. Other people out there have gone through the same thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the
Yeah.
one that I saw was don't tell marketing, but we made our own logo. So I gather your college that you were working at went through a logo redesign and it wasn't going well. The takeaway was, they were suggesting, well, let's get a student to do it. And I thought the interesting part of that post, and you can tell me the story, but was more like, well, we don't want to put a student through the process of designing a logo. So, anyways, without me trying to regurgitate your post, tell me about that one and that story and like what was the takeaway from that?
Yeah, so after this first post blew up, I thought, maybe I'm onto something here, and I'm going to share some other experiences where I've literally heard people be like, "Don't tell Cheryl," or "Don't tell marketing," or and sometimes they don't even people say those things and they don't mean it in a negative way. It's not like they want to hide it from you as a person. It's just like they know what they're doing is wrong and they don't want to be caught. So like, don't tell Cheryl, but
Yeah.
so there were two different posts, and the first one was about having a student design it. And what happened at the college I worked at, so I was there for 12 years in different positions, but I ended up leaving as the executive director of marketing. And we went through a brand redesign, and we brought in a company, an expert, because we weren't able to do it ourselves. We had a very old logo that was hand drawn in the 1970s, like, one of those logos that's drawn on a napkin.
Yeah.
And this was in the 2000s, late 2000s, and we weren't able to reproduce it well. It needed to be able to be used digitally. It was too busy. The font was hand drawn. Like there were just a lot of problems with the logo, and it was time. It was just time. It was time to address the logo, and it was a time to address the school colors too, because like I said, athletics was black and red, and the logo was blue and teal, and the buildings were blue. And I mean, there's like just a million different shades of blue. So we wanted to rebrand not just the logo, but the colors. So we put together a committee, and for those of you that work in higher education, that's how you make decisions is in committee. So we had a committee. I think we had a committee of 12 people. So we had myself who led the committee. We had faculty, deans, students, board of trustees, foundation members, and we hired a company, fantastic company, that came in. They did research, and we went through a round of logos, and then we went through a second round. The second round of logos we thought were really good, and we wanted to release the top 3 logos to the campus community. And so we did that. And as we're recording this, it's like the middle of the Cracker Barrel like logo disaster. So
Yeah.
like what happened to Cracker Barrel happened to us. Like the entire college community revolted. I mean, it was just like it was so bad that the president of the college shut off the ability to people to send emails to more than one person. Like he eliminated listservs. Like nobody was allowed to do like reply all anymore. I mean, there were thousands of messages. People just hated it, hated them. And the thing I heard the most was we should have just had students do this. Why did we spend 100 grand on this company? We should have had students do it. And at the time, my boss said to a faculty member who brought this to her, she said, do you really want students to go through this? And I thought, this is such a good point because we think about logos, we think about marketing as the end product. And the end product is where you want to get, but there's a process to take you there. And the process is so important, and the process is painful. And without the right training and experience, I wouldn't want to put a student through that process. Now, it's a great opportunity for them to learn, but they're not going to be able to push back or to offer opinions when they have 40, 50, 60-year-old faculty members screaming at them that they don't like the color or the shape or the icon, or how dare they mess with with the wave and the logo.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it just goes to show like the process is so important, and a student can be led through that process and can be taught a process, but they could never be the one to lead the process. That comes with experience.
It really does. You develop a thick skin as a creative, speaking for
Yeah.
myself. only through experiencing that rejection over and over again and learning how to navigate different personalities on the team and like yeah, just how you make everything work. And it's just like one of the things for me that I still struggle with is like, I'll work so super hard. My team works super hard on a video. We're so excited, send it to the client, and they immediately start picking out like little mistakes, like, oh, let's change this clip and put it here. And I'm like, but did you like it? Like, did you like it or not?
Yeah.
And I'm just like that, even as a 40-year-old, that is a challenge to navigate. College age John Azoni would be even worse at that. And
Oh
also
my
just
God.
more like I think about how I was in college, just a lot more like defiant, I think.
Yeah.
And
Oh
probably
yeah.
would have like stood up, inappropriately to what I thought were bad ideas or bad feedback. So
I know. And also, like, on the flip side, what if faculty sugarcoats it to students because they don't want to hurt them? I mean, they're totally fine throwing me under the bus and attacking a professional company,
right.
but maybe they would probably, hopefully, be a little kinder to students, and then their voices wouldn't be heard. And I mean, what I've learned over the years through, working with GradCom where we do branding for community colleges is the first round people hate. They just hate it. Like,
Mm.
I've never had a logo or a brand redesign where the first iteration was like, we love everything about it. Let's go.
Yes.
Part of the process is learning what people don't like, and they can't vocalize that until they see something
See
they
it.
don't like. And then you can be like, okay, what don't you like? What don't you want to see? And that's invaluable. That's just part of the process.
Yeah, we encounter that all the time. It's like people you want to be like, well, I wish you would have told me a month ago when we were planning this.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, do you really think that they know what they want until they see it? Like
Don't.
you just don't know what you don't like until you see something that has your brand's name on it. It's representing your brand, and you have the alarm bells go off for you.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a creative brief. We use creative briefs, and one of the questions we've integrated on our creative brief is, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how conservative are you? Like, with 1 being the most conservative and 10 being, I don't remember the end of that scale, but it's like, go wild, we're up for anything, And the colleges will always say like, oh, we're a 7. And then we'll give them a 7, and they're like, oh, I think we answered that question wrong. We're like a 2.
Yeah.
You need to dial it back.
Yeah.
You need to be more conservative. So,
I need to start
you
asking
know,
that question because that's what I,
yeah,
I I tend to push a little less conservative, and a little more like I don't know, like irreverent or personality driven, with
yeah.
the videos that we create. And schools are usually walking me back a little bit. And
Well, it's actually really funny too, because you can be like, well, you said in the creative brief we could push the envelope. And then they'll always laugh and be like, yeah, I guess we didn't mean that.
like I wanted to push this to a 10, but you said 7, so this is a
Yeah.
7.
When you think videographer, you probably think of one person with a camera that will come film some stuff for YouTube for you. When you think commercial, you probably think like this separate big undertaking that involves an ad agency and all this stuff. But at Unveiled, guess what? We do both. You want to do some nimble documentary style storytelling? We got you. You want to create a polished, like really slick 30-second commercial to stream on Hulu with professional actors and set design and a director that yells action, and there's like a whole table that's just filled with like free bagels and snacks and coffee all day long. Guess what? We got you there too. And it would not be our first rodeo. We've done some rodeos. We can get this done for you anywhere in the US without the travel costs that would come along with flying a 20-person crew out. So don't feel like you have to be limited by your location with who you hire for a project like this. So head over to unveiled.tv/commercials to see some of our commercial work, as well as behind the scenes content. And you can book a call with me to chat further right there on our website. All right, back to the show.
So you said, we'll just have a student design it, or I think I've seen some other posts of yours where, or at least one other post where it was like, oh, we'll just design our own flyer or we'll
Yeah,
do
we'll
it
just
ourselves.
do it in AI. Oh yeah, how we design our own flyer. Yeah, that was another one that people really liked.
So
Yeah.
how do you navigate, or how do you suggest marketers navigate that delicate balance of like, here's the brand standards, but here's also like, we don't have time to be like short order cooks for every project that comes, that every request that comes through our inboxes. So like, how do you decide how to equip another department that's requesting this to create something themselves within brand standards, or do you not do that? Do you just say we're just going to bite the bullet and do everything? Or
No, and the interesting part of that post, so just a little backstory on that post is when I was at Maricosta, where I was the marketing director, we had a student event, and to market it on campus, somebody, it was like a Taco Tuesday event, had drawn a taco with a sombrero and a mustache and guns, like it was like gun touting taco.
yeah, perfect.
And
Not a real connection at all.
yeah, and printed it out and put it everywhere on campus. I mean, it was like bathroom stall, and this poster was everywhere. And a faculty member came to the president's office and was so mad because it was very stereotypical. And she thought that we did it, that the marketing department did it. I hadn't even seen it. Like it didn't make its way into the administration bathroom. Like I didn't see it. So, the president, who was Hispanic, actually found it to be comical, but understood 100% why it was inappropriate. And it was a good learning lesson for the school. Like, this is why we should be following, like somebody should have an eye on this. Like, you can make your own flyer, but can you run it by Cheryl? Can you run it by her department? Just really quick, have somebody else look at it just to see if you've missed something or it's inappropriate. And that, by the way, that flyer was made by a student. So there's another example why you might not always want students, right, to make things, because they don't have the experience to know what could be offensive. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, that's good. Yeah,
that
run
was
it
the
by
gun touting taco. But back to your question, an interesting thing I saw on a couple of my posts was people saying, well, we went to our marketing department, it took them 3 months. Or
Mm,
I had an event like the next week and nobody in marketing even emailed me back. And I get it, because the marketing department's busy and people who aren't creators don't have a grasp on how long things can take, right? Of how much time and thought and energy and creativity go into something as simple as a flyer. And if they have other priorities, especially if they're working in the president's office and report to the president, who's always going to take priority over anything, it's hard for them to get things done on time. So what I was answering people on LinkedIn, and what we do as a company, is help make templates, guidelines, shared resources, whether that's photo libraries, logo libraries, Canva templates. I mean, we've helped clients fully build out Canva suites where there's easy templates where people can go be creative, but do them within the confines of the brand. And then training. I mean, the continual training is so necessary. And I think colleges skip out on this because they might have done a brand training one semester and they're like, oh, we did that 2 years ago. But there's always new students. They would love to hear about the brand. People love to talk about marketing. I mean, branding and marketing is popular. Like, you could give a workshop every semester to students and faculty and people will show up for it.
mhm.
They love talking about it. And we consume marketing, we consume brands. You should be teaching. You should be a teacher, a partner, a collaborator. I think the frustration with marketing is when you are the no sayer, not the naysayer. You're the no sayer. When you say no all the time, or I'm too busy, you become the enemy on campus. So just find a way to support people and train them and educate them. That's going to help, I think, the whole brand as a whole, and help your standing on campus.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about my favorite subject, RFPs.
Oh gosh.
So your post, I'm pulling it up here. Top 4 things I hate about the RFP process. I'll list them off and then we can kind of go
Okay,
point to
great.
point. So the pre-picked partner, the budgetless brainstorm, the freebie phishing RFP, and the procurement playbook RFP. So
Yes.
give me your overall thoughts on higher ed RFPs, and then tell me about the
Oh my
woes of the
gosh.
pre-picked partner.
So I think I posted this one after I lost an RFP. So I'm like,
Naturally, that makes
damn
sense.
these RFPs. We've actually made a rule at GradCom that I can't say it's always because I've broken this rule as the CEO. The CEOs, by the way, for those listening who aren't CEOs, they break all the rules. We break all the rules that we make. Like we're the worst ones, but
Absolutely.
we absolutely like we made this rule. We're going to break it. It's my rule. I'm allowed to break it. But we only respond to RFPs if we've gotten a personal invitation because of these four things. And the first one being the biggest one, which is the pre-picked partner. And in higher education, especially now, we don't work with private institutions. We only work with the public. We have worked with some four-year colleges and universities, but they're public as well. And the majority, I mean, 99% of our clients are community colleges. So they are public and they are required by law to go out to bid. There, when a contract ends and it's certain over a certain dollar amount, they have to bid it out, and they're constricted by the laws of their state.
Mhm.
But there are usually incumbents, and usually the incumbents have done a pretty good job. And usually, when there is an incumbent, that is who the college is going to go with. And you will see questions in the Q&A. Do you have an incumbent? Are you happy with the incumbent? Is the incumbent going to bid? Why are you going out to bid? Like, and purchasing will like sideline these questions, and it just is infuriating because it takes, I mean, it could take 40 hours at least to respond to some of these RFPs.
Mhm.
And they already know that they're going to rehire who they're working with. And it's a waste of our time, the college's time, the committee's time, the incumbent's time. And like I've been the incumbent like over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So it's really, really frustrating. And I just wish there was a little bit more honesty so that we can make better decisions for our company and for our time. Like if you have an incumbent and the relationship has been positive, I would like to know that before I invest thousands of dollars and hours into answering your RFP. So,
Yeah, that's a good happy medium because as a vendor, I think about that too. I've been on both sides where it was clear they had a preferred partner when I lost an RFP, and then I've won RFPs where they told me ahead of time, like, we have your proposal, we're going with you. We have to just do this sidestep RFP process. And I'm like, I feel bad for anyone that's
yeah,
participating in that. And but I always think like, well, what would the alternative be? Because anyone that says like, an RFP that says we've already got someone that we like, then who's gonna who would apply?
I know. And I mean that's why that it's so frustrating because I mean this is it's not the college's fault. It's a state has to do this. And here in California where we're located, where we're headquartered, the bid limit, I think, is about $108,000, which is great because marketing is expensive. And so, $100,000, you don't have to go to bid. And I find that there are less RFPs in California because of that rule. We have a contract with the Hawaii system of community colleges. They have to go out to bid for $5,000.
Oh,
I mean, they're bidding out like copy paper. Like that's where it gets to be ridiculous. So I
yeah,
don't know if I could change it state by state. I'd be like, let's raise the bid limit
yeah.
to a threshold that makes sense.
100 is big. A
Yeah.
lot of schools, I mean, that I've encountered, it's like 10, which is like not a small number, but still
Yeah.
not enough to really bring on a third party vendor that's not like a
Exactly.
single freelancer.
Yeah, and if for you, if they're doing video and then they want, the videos to be marketed on YouTube, like that's way past 10,000 now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's a good thing I think for marketers to know. I know every school is different, but maybe someone from purchasing is watching this and
yeah.
or listening to this, but
I would
that
love that
answer the
purchasing
question
person.
if they're happy with the vendor. I feel like that's enough of a like you're still staying in the gray area, but you're giving someone a chance to like I'm going to make you happier with me with my bid, and then that's on you if you want to spend that time,
Yeah.
shooting for the moon.
And, some states also have collective purchasing agreements. So if you go through like a state's process, you can be on a preferred vendor list, and then colleges can piggyback off of that. And those have been great to be a part of because then we can say to colleges, hey, we've been vetted by the chancellor's office. We're on a preferred vendors list. You can piggyback off their contract. And so we've done that with a couple colleges who have been like, fantastic. We don't want to do an RFP. we are going to do this piggybacking. And then there have been other colleges where we're the incumbent. We're like, hey, we just got accepted. You don't have to bid. And purchasing's like, well, we're going to bid anyway.
Mm.
It's like, why? Why? Like,
Yeah.
it saves everybody time to do it
Everybody.
this way. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the budget list brainstorm, what's been your experience with that?
So this is another hard pass for us. Unless it's our current client, we will not do spec creative. Now, the old agency I worked for would do this. And so what would happen is RFP would want to see creative as part of your RFP. And our CEO would stop all work across the whole company. Client work is stopped. Everybody's on deck. We're now pumping out. We don't even know the client. We don't know anything about them. We haven't done research. Now all of a sudden we're doing designs. And I sat through one and interviewed one at that old company where they canceled the RFP after the interviews. And what do you think happened to all that design work that they got from the 15 marketing companies who responded? That becomes their property, and you sign that away in the RFP. So that's a huge red flag for me, is when they're asking you to do creative in a response to an RFP. My company now, GradCom, we will pass on that.
Yeah.
We want to know who you are. We want to understand your pain points. We want to talk to your students, do some research. We don't want to just pump out a bunch of ideas, that we don't know if you're going to like, or if they're even going to solve your problem. So,
Yeah. And it's tough for vendors like us, where a lot of times, like video vendors, and maybe it's true too for like design or branding vendors or whatever, it's not like a real productized industry where you can say like,
yeah,
I can give you a video and it's going to cost this much. What
right.
you're really asking when you don't have a budget that you're communicating on the RFP is, hey vendor, how much does I don't know cost? And
Right.
and
Right.
nobody knows how to respond to that, because you could, if we had our way of doing this, we might have a 20-person crew,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm not going to
Yeah.
bother budgeting for a 20-person crew when you have the budget for one freelancer.
Yeah. And I guess that's what I called on LinkedIn. I called the budgeting brainstorm, and then the whole like spec creative was my freebie, freebie fishing.
Oh,
Yeah.
freebie
And the
fishing.
budgetless freebie fishing and the budgetless brainstorm. You're right, because I mean, you have such a great business, because you're so niche. You're niched in higher ed, and then you're niched in video. So like fantastic, like vertical and horizontal niching. So you're in a great spot. We're broader. So we'll do paid marketing, we'll do branding, we'll do logos. And they'll be like, we don't have a budget.
Mhm.
Like, and then it's like, well, you could do, I mean, we want to hear what you think our budget should be. I'm like, well, I think your budget should be $1 million,
Yeah,
but I know you don't have it.
right.
So, now they're looking for strategy. And just like the freebie fishing, where they're looking for spec creative, a lot of these RFPs are asking us to develop strategy for them in the RFP. And that's our secret sauce. Our strategy is what makes us special. And without a budget, we're just throwing things to the wall and hoping that you like something, that something's going to stick.
Yeah,
They want to see strategy. And I think I love RFPs that look at your capability and your case studies and your process. I'm big on process. How do you get us to this point? How do you get to know us? Those are the questions I think that they should be evaluating in the RFP, not give us all your thinking for 4 budgets. I've had 5 budgets given in RFPs. Like, give us your strategy for 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000.
oh god.
You know, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna get paid for this.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, because the RFPs that I've responded to has had marketing as part of the conversation. So I say this to marketers listening to this episode, even any project, not even just an RFP, like give any sort of range is more helpful than nothing. Because
Yes.
what I end up
Yeah.
having to do then, because a lot of times, like when we're doing custom work, I'll be like, hey, and it's true, like we've done work like this for, $60,000. We've done work like this for $20,000. Like if I came to you and said this was going to be $40,000, what would you say? and you can kind of see their body language, like, ooh, let's,
Yeah.
and then I can
Yeah.
kind of walk them down. And I've had success doing that with people where we get, okay, we're somewhere in the 10 to 20 range, which is what I
Yeah.
wish you would have told me to begin with.
To begin with. Yeah, I mean, a range is great. Like, hey, we think we don't want to spend more than 40,000 on this marketing campaign. Great. Okay, for 40,000, I can tell you where your dollars are going to go the furthest.
Yeah,
So just throwing out a whole bunch of numbers or no numbers at all isn't going to help you or make your project successful.
yeah.
So
What I
I
don't
actually
like,
was in an interview for an RFP and they had a budget and then they asked, "What do you think about our budget?" And I was like, "Well, it could be more. It can always be more."
yeah,
Like that's what I think
right,
about your budget. It can always be more, but you have a budget you're working with. And
yeah.
so let's work with what you have.
Yeah. What I don't like, because when I hire freelancers and I say, like, here's the budget. Well, a lot of times when I'm hiring people, it's a very like cut and dry thing. Like, this
Yeah.
thing would cost this much. But like, I see video companies doing this where it's like, well, if your budget is this, then we're gonna quote you at that number. Where it's kind of like, you have to know that, like, the discomfort on the other side is that I don't want to give them the top of my budget, because then they will max it out. What if they can do something
Right.
cool for less? And so we always, in those situations, try to strike a balance of, say, hey, we're going to give you an option that's under your budget, at your budget, and then here's, like, if we're shooting for the moon and you want to spend more money, here's what that could look like.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they will choose the top one,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I see what more money gets us. It looks like this. But like, you can't really ask in an RFP situation for three different strategies
Yeah.
like that. it's
Yeah.
it's it's a little different when it's so time intensive. To when you're
Yes.
working directly with the client and you can have a back and forth, that's one thing, to be able to send options. But when it's like this hands off, like, submit a question and we're going to answer you in 3 weeks on a spreadsheet, with all the other answers, it's harder to give you options in that sort of
Yeah.
format. So tell me about the procurement playbook. This one I'm less familiar with, but maybe when you explain it, I will be familiar with it.
This is just like insane amount of forms, or you can tell that procurement wrote the RFP and didn't have anybody weigh in, so things don't make sense at all. Like what they're asking for, you're like, I don't understand what they're asking for. Or like we've had RFPs where we've had to get like three different forms notarized. We're filling out like things like, do we subcontract with Iran? Or, like attach your XYZ policies, where I've had to attach employee handbooks. I'm like, who was even looking at this? Like, is this necessary? It doesn't make sense for our industry. Like, we had one RFP that they wanted us to have sexual molestation insurance.
What?
And we're like, you're a college and we're not even coming on campus. Like, and nobody would insure us. I couldn't even respond to the RFP because we call our insurance company. They're like, we don't do that. Like, we never even heard of that. And it turns out it's for like K-12 districts. If like a videographer came and was going to video children.
Okay.
And then we weren't able to submit because we couldn't get proof that we had this random insurance. It's like it wasn't even applicable to doing digital marketing, but it was stuck in there because someone in procurement put it in there. So
Okay.
it's like random things. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've been through that in the RFP process. I will tolerate it in the vendor process. If I'm applying to be a vendor and that we have a job and I just have to go through this formality to get unveiled, to be able to be approved by purchasing to do this job that they are only looking at me for, I'll do that. And I've had to I've had to go through some pretty ridiculous vendor onboarding processes where it's like they're asking for, like, what time of
yeah,
day did you and on what specific date did you submit your business to be an official business
yeah,
with the state of Michigan or whatever? I'm like, I
yeah.
don't I don't know. It's like,
No, I don't
so
know.
detailed where I'm like, I
And who
I
cares?
didn't
Who
write it on my
cares? Like,
calendar.
yeah. So, well, in a perfect world, I mean, I understand the need for an RFP, but my advice to purchasing and marketing departments is to have a budget or a range, like you said, even a nice range, to be clear with what you're asking for, to be honest about the role of the incumbent, and to really try to measure somebody's process and past projects rather than forcing them to make a bunch of stuff that you might not even like. So
Yeah.
just be respectful. Like, we're small, most of us are small companies. Most of our agencies in higher ed are 30 employees or under, and this is a big time crunch for us. So
Yeah. And it's interesting to hear
yeah,
you say what you will pass on, because I think that's really
yeah,
important for marketing departments to know if you're hiring, if you're doing a bidding out for a marketing related vendor. If you're causing a bunch of good people to pass on your
yes,
RFP, then you're going to get the bottom of the barrel that wants just any opportunity and will willingly submit to all of
yeah,
these demands to hopefully get a job. And the type of business that's going to do that is usually pretty young and inexperienced, and that might reflect on the quality of work. No guarantees, but it is helpful, I think, for marketers to know, like, going into this, that these are some definite things we have
yeah.
to make sure we address in the RFP, or else we might not get good candidates to bid in the first place.
100%. I actually had a college I was at a conference and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, we went out to bid last year and you never responded. Why didn't you bid?" And I was like, let me look back at my notes. And I went back and looked at their bid and I said, "Oh, this is why I didn't bid." And I gave them, pretty much these four examples. You wanted spec creative, you didn't have a budget, and I knew you had an incumbent. They're like, "Well, we hated our incumbent." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we asked that question
Yeah.
to procurement and nobody answered. They didn't answer honestly. They just said, "Yeah, we have an incumbent." And that was it.
uh,
So,
yeah. Well, good
yeah.
to know. So you got an ebook out. I want to switch gears here, comparing student recruitment to online dating. So tell us about the book, and tell me what's one of your favorite parallels between dating and higher ed marketing.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, my book it parallels online dating with community college marketing and really focuses on why it's failing. So, why your community college marketing is failing. It's lessons from online dating. And I have a lot of fun examples in there. I met my husband online. So, I did a lot of online dating about 15 years ago and learned a lot of lessons in that process. And I think the one that I liked the most about in the book was just this example of ghosting. So, we do a lot of marketing. We booked $4 million worth of paid digital marketing last year and another like 1.5 million in traditional marketing. So we're booking a lot of money, spending a lot of money getting people interested in the college. But then what happens is they're filling out forms, they're filling out applications, and then they never hear back. The college ghosts them. And that's like, you're online dating, you're chatting with someone, you're texting, you have a phone call, maybe you even have a first date. And then all of a sudden it's like crickets. You think it's all going well. You think, you hit it off, you had chemistry,
Yeah.
and you never hear anything, and you call and you leave message and you text and it's just crickets, it's just silence. And that happens so often, especially in community colleges we work with. I mean, you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of getting these students to your front door, and then nobody pays attention to them once they're there.
Yeah. Oh man, I love those second date updates on the radio. I don't know if you've heard those, where like someone calls in and it's like, I went on this date, it went great, but she didn't call me back, and then it's some like weird reason why you
Yeah.
know the guy did something really creepy or something like that.
Right. That he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Right. And our students were and what I talk about in the ebook, which by the way is free. So if anybody wants a copy of it, they can just go to my website, gradcom.com, and there's a drop down and you can just download it. It's really easy to read because I don't have a lot of time. I know marketers don't. It's like 60 pages.
Cool.
But we are dating students. Like we are dating them. Higher ed is a big decision. It's costly, there's opportunity costs, you are away from your family, you have to, balance work and kids and classes, and it's a huge decision. You're not just buying a car. So they want to date the college. They want to see, Is someone going to be there to answer the phone, to answer my questions, to be there for me? And, when you're not, that's a big red flag.
Yeah.
So I talk about red flags. That's another fun part of the book is like red flags you find when dating a partner are pretty common in colleges too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the dating analogy, with marketing in general. Just the idea that like even like cold outreach, it's like you wouldn't just go up to someone at a party and be like, "Hey, do you want to get married?" And that's
Yeah, exactly.
what a lot of that's like half the emails in my inbox right now.
Yes. I presented to a board of trustees a couple months ago and he was like, I want to see a digital ad, click through an application, click through submission, and go all the way to enrollment. Like he wants attribution from one ad. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Like you don't see an ad and decide to go to college right then. Like that, it takes time. It takes dating. They're going to call you. They're going to have questions. They're going to need to fill out financial aid forms. You can't attach that type of attribution. You don't get married to somebody because you see their match profile without ever meeting them, so
Yeah. So if you could snap your fingers and change one thing about the student journey here that most colleges struggle with, maybe it's something you just said, but what would it be?
well, it really would be this like idea of treating every student, as super important, that personalization. And I think that's where most of the colleges I'm working with want to get there, but maybe they're understaffed or they don't have the right processes. But I think marketing usually is doing a really good job and like their brand's great, their videos are great, their strategy's good, and then it just falls apart. We do a lot of secret shopping projects where we actually will send in students and have them try to apply and enroll and get information and we'll document that process.
Hmm.
And it's shocking. We had one college where a student called 28 times and left 28 voicemails with admissions and did not get one call back. Not one. Actually made the dean cry when I presented it. It was painful. And it's like, this is why your enrollment's down. It's not your marketing department.
Yeah.
It's this people can't get their questions answered or the application itself is cumbersome. So
Yeah.
people need to be introspective and look at their processes and figure out how they can support students and make this journey a little easier, a little less painful.
Yeah, that's so important. The more we work with schools on video strategy, the more we see that partnership between admissions or student affairs and marketing is so important. And like everything is, a lot of it is relying on emails. And it's like, okay, but
Yeah.
if so whatever video someone creates for you isn't going to do anything if that's a terrible email that's going into. So
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
we worked with one school recently where they're like, yeah, most of our Marcom, they're doing all this great work at the top of the funnel. And they're like, but soon as someone gives a signal, like they fill out an RFI or something like that, we don't know what happens to them after that because student affairs takes over. And I
Yeah.
imagine that's pretty common, but it's like, if you're just sending people into a black box where you don't know what if or how they're coming out the other
Yeah.
side, that's a huge problem. That's going to reflect on the marketing team.
100%. We had one college that they hired us to do 5 secret shoppers over 5 semesters. So each semester we had a different student. Were not able to actually enroll until the 5th secret shopper experience. So we do a 6-week window. Because community colleges are usually like students are like, okay, I'm going back to college this fall. And they have like, there's 6 weeks. We're going to apply. We're going to do financial aid. We're going to try to enroll in a class. 4 times it failed. And it was just crazy. And every time we do this presentation to student services and the president would be like, I thought we fixed this. I thought we fixed this, and it's like, this is the problem. It's not marketing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the top. It's not that top of the funnel. They're getting people in. And if you look at your application to enrollment yield, most community colleges only enroll 40 to 50% of their applicants. So what's happening to the other 50% of their applicants? Some probably decide they don't want to go back, but there's probably a big portion of them that weren't able to get the support they needed in time. And how can you support those students?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good. So I gather you offer that as a service, secret shopping.
Hmm. Yeah.
So awesome, because I think that we are just so like blind to, we've been in an environment long enough. Like I don't know, I went into a restaurant recently with my family, and like we were sat in a booth, and like on the booth was like dust and like stray hairs like on the windowsill.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, they probably are wiping down the table. They're probably doing a great job, but they're probably not coming in for the first time from a customer perspective and seeing what else is gross, you know?
Right. Right.
So,
And think of it like one bad thing, like if you get a hair in your food, like you're not gonna go back to that restaurant. Like it can take one bad experience to ruin it for you.
yeah. I did get a
Yeah.
hair in my burger at McDonald's, and I still go back. I just too addictive. McDonald's McDonald's has a lot of leeway
Really?
with me. Literally pulled the
I don't
hair
think I
out of
could
my
go
mouth.
back. Oh, yeah, I don't think I could go back.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've gone back to that location, but I'm still a
Well,
McDonald's.
you're a true customer. You're like everybody's dream customer.
Yeah.
That could be their testimonial. I got a hair in my food and I still come back.
Well, cool. Super great having you. Tell us about GradCom before you go, and where can people connect with you guys at?
Yeah, well, GradCom, we are a higher education marketing agency that specializes in community college marketing. And you can learn about us at gradcom.com. And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn. That's where John and I connected. And I'd love to connect new people on LinkedIn. So please hit me up there. It's just Cheryl Broom. And love to have some new friends.
Awesome. Super great talking to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. 3 things I want to invite you to before you go. Number 1, if you want to know what's working right now in higher ed video, like what videos are getting tons of views, likes, comments, all that, you can get ungated access to our report, aptly named What's Working in Higher Ed Video, a comprehensive guide for higher ed Marcom leaders and content creators. So check it out at unveiled.tv/higheredvideo, and you might want to bookmark it because it's designed to be a resource for you that you can keep referring back to for inspiration. Number 2, reminder to sign up for my free newsletter all about content creation and strategy at unveiled.tv/newsletter. And number 3, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're searching for me, my name is John Azzoni. It's spelled Johnazoni. I'm on there all day, every day, for better or for worse, posting regular content and engaging with folks like you. So I'd love to connect with you on there. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast. And as always, I am cheering you on. Okay, bye.